What's good? You're listening to Daniel and Gian Talk Shit. I am Gian.
And I'm Daniel.
All right. And today we're going to do something we haven't done in a very long time, and that's just talk
have
shit.
A podcast.
Yeah, just a straight podcast, no real topics.
This is for you, our 3 iTunes listeners.
Yeah.
Garrity, and I don't know who else listens to our podcast.
Charlie.
There you go. That's 2 people.
Charles Witherspoon and Tracy.
There's the 3. That's it.
Baseball Academy out there. Let me know the name so I can plug it next time. Zeki. What's up, Zeki? Out there in Elk Grove, fighting fires and shit.
Did you ever see that the firefighter movie that just came out?
No.
I really wanted to see it.
Who's in it?
Thanos. I'm forgetting his name, whatever reason now. Josh Brolin.
I love how the guy's been on screen for like 30 seconds as Thanos, and you're calling him Thanos.
That was the first thing. No, I mean, I know who Josh Brolin is. I literally just forgot. Only the Brave. That's what it's called. Josh Brolin, Miles Teller, which is, of course, the reason why you haven't seen it.
Yeah. Jeff
Bridges is in it. It was directed by the guy who Joseph Kosinski. He did Tron and Oblivion. So that's a deviation from his sci-fi stuff.
All right. I liked Oblivion. Tron was trash.
Tron was okay, but I haven't seen the original, and it was just I like the music.
Tron was bad.
It's good music.
The music was fine, whatever, but the movie itself was.
It was okay. It was okay.
Yeah, it wasn't okay for me. It was.
So you wouldn't watch? Well, whatever.
They came out with a third Tron. Nah, I wouldn't watch it. No.
I would. I don't know. I like the way it looked visually too. I think Jeff Bridges' CGI has not aged well. I think it looked okay for the time.
Oh, you mean from the original Tron?
No, when they made him a young Tron or whatever. Not young Tron, but that was like the first usage of that like de-aging thing that Disney uses a lot now. And Scorsese's going to use for Robert De Niro and all those people for The Irishman.
Oh.
You don't care?
The technology? No. Are you saying that the technology's gotten better since the Tron?
Yeah, movie? I thought it looked shitty. I think if you look at that version, it's like, okay.
Actually, that didn't really bother me that much back when I watched it. When that came out, like 7 years ago.
Tron?
Yeah.
It came out...
Or 5 years ago.
2010, so 7 years ago.
7 years ago. It's all about context, man.
He's supposed to direct the new Top Gun.
Oh my God, they're remaking Top Gun.
No, it's a sequel.
Is Tom Cruise in it?
It's called Top Gun Maverick. Is
Fat Val Kilmer in it?
I think. Do you know Fat? I was gonna call him Fat Kilmer. Do you know he has cancer?
Yeah, I saw that.
It's crazy. It's crazy not because he has cancer, because.
Are you saying it's crazy how many people are getting cancer now?
No, I mean he probably has cancer because he didn't really take care of himself.
Yeah.
But I mean, smoking all the time and drinking all the time and eating whatever the fuck you want all the time, it's not really going to do you good.
And then there's guys like Ric Flair who can do all of that stuff. And
hey, man, he almost died. I need to watch that 30 for 30.
He almost died at the age of 93.
He's not 93.
No, he's like 68 or something. He's 70. He's either 70 or close to 70.
He's lived over 100 years.
Yes.
Even though he is 68.
With what he's put his body through, that it took 68 years for it to finally like hit him, when there's other people who have
usually it's 50. 50 is usually and in my experience, it's like once you hit 50, you're on like you're walking on eggshells. Like whatever you did prior to 50 is gonna catch up to you and bite you in the ass.
I'm gonna say, yeah, that's probably true.
Well,
for me, it's like 54, once you hit 70 years old, like every day is a blessing. Like you're on borrowed time after 70. Like
I mean, we're all on borrowed time, but even more so.
Like my parents are both in their 70s, and it's like now I'm like worried now.
For every little thing too.
Yeah,
anything, even if they fall or whatever.
Yep.
Like you fall when you're that old. I mean, so Thanksgiving was this last week, and then normally my great uncle, my grandma's brother, I think he lives in Salinas or something. No, I don't know. It's like an hour from here, and so he always drives down here, and he's like 84, 85 now. He didn't come down this time for Thanksgiving because apparently he fell.
Oh man!
And like broke his rib. And my great uncle has always been like tip top shape.
Yeah.
Like never. I mean, he doesn't look. If he said he was 70, you wouldn't question it for a second. So, but I mean, that just goes to like he doesn't appear to be brittle, but when you're that old, man,
right?
You know, he was just doing yard work and he just tripped and he just happened to hit his rib on the little like brick thing that you put your garden in,
right?
Whatever. But it's just crazy. Yeah, he's 68. Fred Phillips. I didn't know that was his name.
Ric Flair?
Yeah.
That's not his name.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. His name is Richard Fleer.
It says
F-L-I-E-H-R.
According to Wikipedia, which maybe this was revealed in the 30 for 30. Richard Morgan Flair, possibly born Fred Phillips, February 25th.
Oh, that's someone trying to track down like he was adopted. Like the people that raised him, they adopted him. So they might have been trying to track that down.
Got it.
But
his birth name is widely perceived to be Fred Phillips, although on different documents he is also credited as Fred Demari or Fred Stewart, while his biological parents were Luther and Olive Phillips. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know why I'm reading about this. But he's lived an interesting life. He's one of the few, like, I don't know. He's a legend.
Well, you need to watch the 30 for 30 so we could actually do a podcast on it, man, because it's intense, and I don't want to cheat. I don't want to cheat you from that. It's good. And we could actually. I
hear it's like the best one.
We could bring on TMD.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Discuss.
Maybe he'll actually repost it. Probably not. He'll actually, advertise for it. But
yeah, he probably won't. But
that'd be a good little reunion. We could do that.
Yeah,
that was a well-liked. Keep the sexism down.
It was. And we'll talk about Jinder Mahal.
Oh, and we could talk.
I still haven't if you're one of our Indian subscribers and you're watching this, I still have not got a solid answer on the state of pro wrestling in India. Like 1 or 2 people have commented on professional
WWE wrestling or
just professional wrestling in general, because every country, well, not every country, but most countries have their own wrestling promotion going on, and then WWE is just that's at the big time that comes travels the world.
Well, there was a UFC fight in Shanghai this weekend.
Yep.
And there was an actual Indian fighter. There wasn't just what's his name who was fighting
Was it Arjun Balar?
He's from Canada or something, right?
Yeah, he's Canadian.
Yeah. So this is a real Indian. Sorry to say, but he got knocked the fuck out. I mean,
He got starched by a Chinese guy?
He just got destroyed. I'm trying to look up his name. I think his name is I don't know how to pronounce it, of course. I think it is. It's Bharat Kandare. I don't know. Bharat. I don't know if the H would be silent, right? I guess. But anyway, he got
look up his name.
He got knocked out. I mean, it was at first it was all right, this is kind of cool, he's kind of putting up a fight, and then he just got dropped, and it was just one of those, there's certain knockouts where it's just did you watch any of the fights? Did you hear about any of the results? Do you know?
I heard all the results. It was just I wanted to watch it, but it being on at 4 a.m. and all the prelims at 2 a.m. and I had work that night too, so it was just not in the cards. And I was thinking about rewatching it on Fight Pass, and then we went to Disneyland and had family stuff I had to do yesterday, so it just wasn't time. I wanted to watch it. I'll probably still watch it because I want to see what Gastelum did to Bisping, but
just wrecked.
And that's on Bisping because you don't take a fight.
Is it on Bisping or is it on the UFC?
I don't think they told him to do it. I think he stepped up and wanted to do it.
You think so?
Absolutely. I think he
felt like he could beat Kevin.
Yeah, and he
Kelvin.
He either that or he's got a terminal illness that we don't know about, so he's trying to make as much money as possible before he has to retire.
I mean,
something crazy that.
The reality is, and this is that thing where I've listened to Brendan Schaub talk about this and all that, and I'm not going to regurgitate their points, but I think it's hard for people to realize I'm done.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because Michael Bisping probably felt fine going into the fight.
Yeah.
And watching him do he was really calm. He had no energy in regard before the fight, so it kind of felt a little weird. But once the fight started, I'm okay, all right, we're going to have a nice fight here. Until that punch just killed him.
Right.
Literally, it was just but now it's now he wants to fight again in March because that's the next time the UFC is going to be in England.
Yeah, he wants to do his last fight there, and whatever, let him do it. But I think
I don't know. I don't think you should let him do it.
I think he needs to retire. I mean,
I don't think you should.
If it's in March, that's that's 4 months, so that should be enough time to recover. The thing that we don't know is how these guys train. Like some guys, for example, AK in San Jose, that's Daniel Cormier and Cain Velasquez. One of the reasons why Cain Velasquez has been injured all the time is because they spar way too hard there. Like they just go all out.
They just fight.
Yeah, and they get hurt.
UFC fights.
They get hurt because of it, and there's stuff like that. Like I was listening to Rogan. He's got his new MMA podcast,
the MMA Hour,
and he was talking about like the time Forrest Griffin got knocked out by Anderson Silva by a jab. He had been knocked out in training for that fight.
Was that his first? That was like his second or third loss, right?
Forrest Griffin?
No, I thought Silva got knocked out.
No.
Silva got knocked. Who did Silva got knocked out by? Someone.
Silva got knocked out by Chris Weidman,
and he just blew in his direction, and Silva just fell down.
No,
I know that one. That fight is the one where like he was like showboating, and then
he ate a huge overhand.
But there was another one where it was kind of like a weak sauce punch.
I don't know if Silva.
I'm gonna look it up.
I don't know if that's Silva though.
Silva, go ahead. What were we gonna say about Forrest Griffin?
Well, I'm saying like he got knocked out in the training camp for that Silva fight. Like you don't know what's going on at training camp and how rough. What surprised me about Bisping taking the fight was, had he had the fight with the GSP on the first round, like had he gotten submitted in the first round, like
it wouldn't
fast,
have been a thing.
It wouldn't have been that big a deal. But that fight went 3 rounds.
And they were exchanging.
They were tagging each other.
It was a good fight. I thought it was a good fight, and that's why I kind of wish he didn't fight Kelvin. I mean, if he wins, no one says anything.
Right.
If Bisping wins, no one says anything about all this stuff. But to lose, and then to lose by a devastating knockout, not just a knockout, but devastating knockout.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know. It was just, when I saw it, I was just, I felt like you should just hang it up.
Yeah, I'm surprised he got cleared medically. That's the other thing. Like 3 weeks? That's crazy. He had no training camp for that fight.
You can't because you can't put any more damage on you.
Exactly. Like, it's just,
so what do you think there should be a minimum time, like a 3-month layoff? Like, isn't that in boxing? Like, couldn't they put a ban on Conor fighting again for a few months after the Mayweather fight?
Yeah, the docs come in and they check you and they'll tell you, like, they'll put medical like suspensions on people. So especially if you got knocked out, they'll like put like a minimum 3 months. But
I don't see why that shouldn't be what it is. I mean, obviously people have families to feed, and that obviously is a factor. But yeah, it's just like
it's a messed up situation, the fight game, and like really, part of it's like what you're getting into. Like these first few fights you do. That's why like a lot of guys' records, like before they get a title fight, they've already had like 30 fights because they're like fighting every month. Because you have to, to make money, and to get your name out there. And a lot of your first fights are like 4 or 5 rounds, 6 rounds, and then you finally, when you start doing 10-round fights, that's when like you're a legitimate pro. But it's tough. It's.
I can't imagine doing it. I can't.
I mean, it's a brutal sport, man.
What do you feel like? Because I was thinking about this the other day, when I was actually so I watched the preliminary fight card. And then I went to sleep, and then I downloaded the rest, and I watched it on Sunday, the main card. Do you think there should ever be like a special, like an exhibition match, like on every card, where some crazy, almost like WWE type thing,
like a freak show fight?
Yeah, not necessarily. Maybe like an old school, like a throwback, like no weight class, just 2 people who want to fight.
I mean, we talked about it on that other preview video.
Or even something crazy like
I think the reason why they don't do these kind of things is because
they want to be taken seriously as a sport.
Exactly, because it delegitimizes the sport. When you start doing circus sideshow fights like Butterbean versus whoever.
Well, no rounds. Like you start the match.
Like the original.
You just you once you're starting, it's whoever gets submitted, knocked out, or taps out loses.
When is the UFC's next pay-per-view?
This Saturday, 2/18.
Okay, so they're doing the tough finale on the 1st.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. No, I think, maybe we're kind of searching for topics. Maybe we should do a breakdown right now of the pay-per-view. Let's go.
I'm not searching for topics. I was just looking at...
yes, you were searching for topics, you jerk.
I was just looking at the Jose Aldo was talking about Anderson Silva because I guess he said, Jose Aldo says that this second failed test dirties Anderson's career.
Yeah.
And I just feel like,
you know what? I'm gonna be, and this is I'm gonna defend Anderson here. Like,
he's old trying to fight again.
He's 40 fucking years old. He's
42.
He's over 40. He's getting in there with these young guys,
and he still wants to fight. And that's his kind of way to get in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know if this tarnishes his career because it happened so late.
So.
Had it John Jones' career's tarnished because the dude's 30 years old in his physical prime, and he's
been doing it.
He's been caught gassing twice.
Now, Joe Rogan speculated that or I guess there's rumors going around that actually it was coke. That I guess creatine powder, I don't know like how you prepare cocaine for ingestion, but apparently people use creatine to mix with to cut whatever the fuck that means, to mix with cocaine.
Right.
And I guess some creatine from China is mixed with this steroid supplement. And so
that's
and he was saying that like his birthday was 10 days prior, and that's enough time.
That's
a stretch.
That's a reach. And the reason why it's a reach is because the dick pill thing, you know. I when it comes to steroid usage, I trust Chael Sonnen more than I do any of these other guys. And Chael Sonnen went on it was either Big Brown Breakdown or T-Fat K, and he broke down every single kind of steroid people use, why they use it, when they use it. And what he got popped for the dick pill, he broke it down, and he got popped. What he got popped for this time, he broke it down. So it's kind of like, now you're. He said the first one he said was a dick pill thing. He thought they were full of shit. Like, he's like, that's not true. Like, people use that. People use estrogen because your testosterone levels get too high. So you try to combat it by taking estrogen to knock it down to give you normal test levels. And that's why now they test for estrogen, because they know that's the way people like have been getting around the steroid test. So I don't buy it. Like, one time, maybe something crazy happened, but twice, come on now. And I've never heard of people cutting cocaine with creatine.
That's what
like Chinese creatine too. Like, you know what I mean?
No, it's not Chinese creatine. It's just creatine. Most of our shit comes from China. So
right.
Like, they just will cut everything in one little factory. That's the point. People have gotten busted, and they've actually legitimately have proven that like this supplement was just tainted, but not because of anything we've done. It was just shipped that way from GNC or something. Like, they'll go out and like go to 20 different stores across the country.
And that's why there's like a list of supplements that you can use and lists that you can't.
Well, no, I mean, even the ones that are approved, sometimes it'll filter. Like, if they can prove that, like,
I just don't think that the levels, like,
even if it's proven to be true, even if
there's like trace, like, okay, so you can get away with a certain amount of stuff. If there's trace amounts of something, you won't get in trouble.
They'll chalk it up. They'll say, okay, maybe it was.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
If you have enough over that limit,
exactly.
That's
if you have
when
enough
trouble.
metabolites in your system, like, no, like, I don't buy for a second. Just the fact that, you know, and people brought it up before, like, since USADA has taken over UFC, John Jones pissed hot 3 of the 4 fights, and the one fight he didn't piss hot, he looked like shit. He looked terrible.
Against Oven St. Preux?
Yeah, exactly. Making people think that OSP is like a legitimate fucking like contender. Like, no, the dude sucks. He just happened to catch John Jones on a when he's not gassed up. You know what I mean?
I don't think even if it was proven to be true, I don't think he's gonna have a career back like that.
No.
I mean, he'll fight again. In my mind, there's no way. I mean, they still haven't weighed in on his punishment. That's the other thing too. It's like
that's gonna say a lot.
So if they give him, I think it's 2 years, 4 years, whatever it is. Let's just say it's 2.
I think it's like minimum 2, maximum 4. Like, that's.
Let's just say it's 2 then. Does he already get time served right now?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, because I was gonna say, like, right now there's just nothing happening right now. It's just sad because you look at him and you think, was he good at all, or was it always the juice and now he's just starting to get caught, or he's just starting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to wonder. Because the other guy, the guy who's getting all I forget his name, the dude on Twitter, he's a fighter too. He's just talking shit about everybody.
Oh, the guy that Verdum threw his boomerang at?
Him.
Yeah.
I guess he used to train with John Jones, like when they wrestled together or something, or he lived with them.
They went to college together or something.
And they wrestled in college together or something. And he's basically just putting him on Front Street, saying like he's the fakest fucking guy out there.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in God. Like, all this shit that he says he's trying to do, like, none of that's true. He's cheated on his wife a bunch of times. Like, he's just putting him on blast. And he said he believes he was probably just juicing the whole time.
I
mean, that's third-party source.
Yeah, I mean, that's hearsay.
I mean, it's helping his career out on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I mean, getting a boomerang thrown at his face helps, too.
That's fucking hilarious. I mean, that's a weapon.
Yeah.
But whatever. How do you do that? What makes you that angry at someone?
Have you seen the video?
No. I didn't know there was a video of it.
Dude, the guy's out here calling, he's calling Brazilians animals. He's calling them he called them like uncaged monkeys or something, like super like offensive. And the guy's, I think he fights
Colby Covington.
I think he fights at 170. He's the story goes that he, like, as Verdum was passing by him, he made a comment like
I'm looking at it right now.
He dropped another filthy animals fucking reference or something, and Verdum like got in his face. You know, Verdum doesn't play, man. You got to give him, you know, say what you want about Verdum, but you know.
So they're arguing right now. You've seen this video, I haven't.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Oh, he didn't throw it at him. I mean, he did, but
well, he didn't throw it like a traditional boomerang throw.
He actually just chucked it at him in anger.
Chucked it right at him.
I thought he was like,
it's like when you're arguing with
across the street and he threw it, and then it like.
That would have been awesome if he did that.
That's what I thought it was.
It was more
that
like,
was like an anger.
It's like throwing a drink in someone's face, like you're pissed off and you're like, you know.
That would have been hilarious though if he took aim from down the street and he just chucked it
and it hit him and bounced back to him.
Does that even work? I mean, I don't know enough about boomerangs.
I'd have to watch some YouTube videos to verify that. I mean, I think it works a little bit. I don't think it like
in the cartoons.
Yeah, it doesn't work the way it does in the cartoons, but I think there's some like, you know.
What a weird weapon. But I mean, whatever, if it works, right?
I mean, I think they use it to kill birds and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't like they weren't going on the battlefield using it. You know?
Charging in with boomerangs?
Yeah, it's like small to kill small animals from distance. I think it was like to kill birds and trees and stuff like that.
Kill trees?
Kill birds in trees.
Oh, in trees. I thought you said and trees.
But what? I'm looking at this pay-per-view fight. I haven't bought a pay-per-view, I think the last two I didn't buy, but this one I just might buy, you know, because
we should do a fight,
a companion,
a live fight companion.
There's Eddie Alvarez versus Gaethje. I don't know.
Gaethje.
There's a J there.
Gaethje. I don't know, but it looks good. I mean, I want to see Overeem and Ngannou fight. That's the number one fight for me personally.
Let me ask you something. Why do you hate Overeem so much?
I don't hate him. I don't. Why, do you think Ngannou's going to knock him out?
I think Ngannou can potentially murder him.
End his career?
Yeah, like literally kill him. Like Overeem's one of those guys where I don't know why he's still fighting as well, because he's been knocked out. Like, I feel like I think he's lost every fight. Every fight he's lost has been by knockout for his entire career, like multiple times.
I mean, he's still fighting though.
I mean, yeah, he's still dangerous.
So do you think he's like Bisping?
No, Bisping's old and shot. I think Bisping's.
So then why are you hating on
Bisping's
Overeem?
blind in one eye right now.
I know.
He's got to have like corrective surgery, and
when he's done fighting.
Yeah, you know, you can see when you look at him, his one eye's like squinted down and shit. Like it looks weird.
So you don't. Well, let's see. How old is Overeem? Overeem's 37. So I mean, he's approaching the end of his career.
Well, he's a heavyweight, so he's got a little bit longer.
I mean, you have to think like if Mark Hunt's done. I mean, he's not officially done, but in my opinion, he should just retire. UFC should just step in and be real and say, "Hey, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we love you, we respect you, thank you for your time, but we just can't put you through this anymore."
When it comes to Mark Hunt, yeah, he needs to take a real long evaluation of his career.
Dana White needs to do it. I think that's what. I mean, seriously, you can't watch. They did that whole article on him. He's even admitted it. He doesn't care. Like, you can't. That's reckless. Because like, what if he dies in the ring?
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you know. Because I remember when Overeem knocked him out. Were we watching that fight here? I feel like we were.
Possibly, yeah.
And
well, you can only take so many knees to the face. Like
that was a brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
just nasty.
Just imagine another one of those.
Yeah.
No matter if it's in a year from now and whatever. I mean, how much damage? That's what we're finding out slowly. Like, how much damage can your body actually take?
It's like Chuck Liddell. If you hear Chuck Liddell talk right now, he's slurring his words. You know, you can tell he's like just a little bit slower than he used to be. It's a style. The big part of all this is like the style of these guys' fights.
It's punch me, knock me out, because I'm not going to stop pushing forward.
Which is funny for Overeem, who's kind of like that because he's always had a glass jaw. Like he's always been brittle.
Clearly, if he's been knocked out 50 times.
I remember when the Zuffa first bought the UFC. And they were trying to build the brand back up. They went to Japan with Liddell and did some Pride fights. Like they did like some cross promotion with Pride in Japan. And Liddell was getting his ass handed to him by Overeem.
Was he on the juice?
Oh no, he wasn't Overeem yet. This is when Overeem was still fighting at 205.
Oh.
So he was like skinny Overeem, but Overeem was handing it to him, and then all of a sudden Liddell comes back and just clips him and just destroys him. Just folds him like brutally, like
one punch, man.
Yeah, like that was back in those days, and then that was when Rampage and Liddell fought, and Rampage. It was, that was tough.
Wasn't that a vicious? That was a super vicious knockout.
Oh yeah,
wasn't it?
Rampage fucked Liddell up, and I remember like that was when Liddell was like they were really trying to push Liddell as this face of the UFC, and
he just got obliterated.
He just got fucking murked.
So you don't. So then go back.
And I think that's part of the reason why Liddell, like, even though he's like a legend in the sport, he was never like the big top dog in UFC. Like he was never super popular like some of these other fighters.
But he's a name though now.
No, absolutely.
I mean, obviously because he did other roles in movies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and whatever.
And he dethroned Tito Ortiz, who at the time was like the biggest guy in the UFC for a while.
Because there was a lot of people you heard of. Tito was definitely one of them. Chuck Liddell, because I at that point in UFC, I was an outsider.
Yeah.
I would just, watch highlights or something. Who else? There was Chuck Liddell. Who's the other one?
Randy Couture.
Randy Couture. There you go. He's obviously the real legend. I feel like.
But he got murked by Liddell twice too.
I know. I'm just saying though. It just goes to show
like
you.
Liddell was on a hot streak. Couture came in. He came down from heavyweight. He beat Liddell. And everyone's like, oh, okay, here comes the Randy Couture era. And then
nope,
Liddell comes back, murks him. There was a while there. Liddell had a streak because they were bringing in people from Brazil to fight him. They were bringing in they threw everybody at him, and he.
Well, eventually everyone crumbles, man.
Yeah.
I mean, just to bring it back to Silva.
Well, it started when they brought back the guy that had already murked him. They brought in Rampage. When they brought Rampage back, that was the beginning of the end because just stylistically, Rampage could take a shot. I don't think Rampage has been knocked out. He got TKO'd in Pride, but like head stomps, like face kicks and shit, and knees.
Things that would knock anybody out.
To Shogun and Vanderlei, like they were brutal in that sense, but like just a straight punch, like a flush punch to the chin, he never got knocked out like that. Actually, I think there were more TKOs and knockouts too. We'd have to.
I'm looking it up right now.
Really good, but yeah, Rampage was that he could take your shot and then give you an even harder shot. Like they did one of these sports sciences where they like measured their punch power, and Liddell was like at 1150 or something, like PSI. And
so he got TK. His last TKO was in 2005, for soccer kicks, and then
soccer kicks, aka kicks to the face on the ground.
And then previous to that was in 2004, knockout knees by Silva, and then Silva again at TKO knees. And submission, yeah, that's it. All his other ones were decisions. So he's 37-12. He just lost in March of this year by Muhammad Lawal.
Oh yeah,
in Bellator.
He's always had problems with wrestlers, man. And King Mo is like he's a leg humper.
Well, I feel like Rampage is kind of. I feel like
old.
He's done. Like he should
lack
retire.
of passion too. Like right now he's collecting a paycheck, but.
Unfortunately.
But the one thing that
supposed to fight Chael Sonnen on January 20th.
It's like nobody wants to watch that.
Well, see, the thing is, I do want to. Ooh, I didn't know that. I might go. Maybe I'll go get tickets for that. It's in the forum. It's at the forum. Because it's supposed to be a Grand Prix.
Oh, really? Is it a Grand Prix like a Grand Prix though?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's supposed to be one night.
I don't know if you can get that sanctioned in the States.
It's in. It just says.
No, like a legit Grand Prix where like
all in one night.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. All it says is Bellator Heavyweight World Grand Prix Tournament. So, it doesn't. No, it's not.
Like, what the fuck is Chael Sonnen doing fighting at heavyweight? Like, you're fucking 70 years old.
So the people in the tournament are Rampage and Chael, Frank Mir, and then Fedor. Then Muhammad Lawal, the guy I said beat Rampage.
Yeah, King Mo.
Yeah. Ryan Bader, Roy Nelson, and Matt Mitrione.
Right now, off the top of my head, I'm going with Mitrione. Mitrione's going to win that whole thing. Because just like...
Well, he's the number one fighter, I feel like. He should be fighting in the UFC.
I mean, Roy Nelson still has a shot. I think that's probably the toughest fight for him. But the other guys, Frank Mir's done. I don't know why he's still fighting. Fedor's done. Like, I feel... Dude, Fedor was my favorite fighter. And, yeah, like...
Did you see his last fight?
No, I didn't watch
when he fought who did he fight? Hold on. He fought Matt Mitrione. And they both knocked each other out. They both punched each other at the same time and they both dropped each other except
Mitrione got back up first
and just beat the shit out of him after that. And it was one of those things where it was like it shouldn't have happened at all.
Fedor is
cuz he's big, he's fat.
Yeah, Fedor, that's the thing that people that don't want to give Fedor his credit is Fedor was a fat light heavyweight. Fedor, if he really concentrated, he probably could have cut down to 205. But he didn't want to cut down because he wanted to eat whatever the hell these Russian Ukrainians eat, dude.
Babies?
Something, man. He always had a spare tire. He had a dad bod. That was what was amazing about him. He was this bald guy with fucking dad bod who just knocked the people the fuck out. Like, dude's way bigger than him and, like, crazy fast,
He
dude.
Clearly had the punching power because he did knock Matt Mitrione down.
Yeah, I think the power doesn't leave you. The punching power, it's the other stuff.
It was just a straight up, he couldn't take that punch.
Mitrione's a big boy. That's the thing, too.
They knocked each other down, literally. They just punched each other at the same time.
No,
it was a straight up comic book moment. Fucking Iron Man and Captain America punching
straight movie moment where everything's in slow motion and blurry and the refs,
both were like,
everyone's underwater and the refs like 1, 2.
No, it wasn't that fast.
3. No.
For Fedor it was, but not for Matt. He got up kind of quick, and that was the thing. It was just, but I mean, so I might go to 192 now.
When is it?
January 20th.
Is that a Friday night, huh?
I don't know. Let's see.
They usually do their events on Fridays. That's why.
Well, they don't want to compete with the UFC.
Yeah.
That's why. No, it's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday. Okay.
Because you know what? They're trying to really push this Grand Prix, and they're going to be showing it on the Paramount Network.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what it is either, but I think it's like
right now is the time for Bellator to strike because the UFC is down.
Well, it's because of the new ownership thing. They're still kind of figuring things out.
I'm just on a talent level. UFC does not have the hitters that it had in years past.
I think they do. I just think, to be honest with you, maybe I don't know. I can't speak on things in the past. So like I know names now, but I don't think there's like enough like Connors out there who are going to really float the business. Like if Connor loses his next fight and gets dethroned for whatever that might be, right? Or let's say he doesn't want to fight until he gets enough money. I don't know. Whatever the case might be. I don't know who else is out there who can float the company. You don't have Ronda. You don't have.
I'm looking at it more like this, like the last pay-per-view, which I did watch. I forgot about that. I just I watched it differently.
Through Reddit.
There was 3 championship fights, and all 3 champions lost, and they were all like their first, or not all first, but like Cody Garbrandt. This was his first or second defense of the title. They were pumping him up. Boom, got knocked out. Jan Jacek, they were really pushing her. Oh man, she got brutally knocked out. I mean, I think it was like her 4th or 5th defense. Like she was going to break Ronda's record. That's what she was going for, but she got brutally knocked out.
She's still a fighter though. She's
still a fighter, but still like these.
No, I know. They want.
She was on the Today Show that week promoting the fight.
And if she would have won, it would have been good.
It'd been huge, but boom, gone. It's gonna take her. I
mean, even like what's her name?
Who else was on that card? There was another champion that lost on that card as well.
What was that? What was that? 217?
217, yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you 2 seconds. All right, so Bisping GSP.
Oh, Bisping GSP was on. Was that 217?
Yeah.
So I watched every fight except for the Bisping, because I watched the Cody Garbrandt.
You didn't watch George St-Pierre fight Bisping?
I think I was watching the USC game at the same time, but I watched Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw, and I watched
that was TKO punches.
Yeah, J-Chick.
Namajunas.
You know what? I had it on and I wasn't paying attention. Then when I turned back, it was like over. Like
Jorge Masvidal and Wonder Boy. I need to go take a shit. I've been prairie dogging it. Bitcoin is
Well, I know people are trying to use it as an alternative currency.
Yeah, it's not a stock or anything. It's like gold or anything like that. Like your dollar equals a certain amount of Bitcoin, and that's what it is. One Bitcoin just happens to be equal to $10,000 now.
Yeah, but how do you feel about? There's that guy that Rogan had on his podcast that was talking about Bitcoin and said like it's not viable.
Well, but he's also had people on the podcast who say it is viable. I think Bitcoin, I don't know about Bitcoin specifically being the future, but I think that type of digital currency kind of is where we're going for.
It just doesn't make any sense because it's not worth anything. Like it's not physically, you can't do anything with it. I mean,
well, I think so, but it's kind of like, well, the way I look at it is it's like gold. People say, yeah, well, gold means something because gold will always be valuable. That's not 100% true. You know?
Yeah, but the thing with gold is that you can actually do stuff with it. People use gold for
but in
technology.
300 years, who the fuck knows?
Yeah,
we discover an asteroid that's made of pure gold, and now we have so much gold that gold becomes worthless.
Right. I mean, there's that, but that's also...
it seems implausible, but you don't know.
But that's also like with Bitcoin, it's
maybe,
basically just a code that does nothing. You know, you can't melt it down. You can't make jewelry out of it.
You can get stolen really easily. Well, not now so much, but when it first started, that's kind of what was one of the big detractors. Is there was like millions and millions and millions of dollars of Bitcoin out there,
right? And
it all got stolen.
I feel like the people that are getting in early on Bitcoin are the ones that are going to make out like bandits.
Absolutely.
But once like
well, now if you try to go into Bitcoin and it's worth $10,000,
right? Like if you sell all your Bitcoin right now, like whoever knows what they're doing is going to know when. They're like Bitcoin's like the Beanie Babies of currency, you know.
I would think Bitcoin's more like Brexit or like things like that, where it's like, okay, this is terrible to say, but I'll invest in Bitcoin when we have another recession, when the market tanks,
right?
Because that's how you make your money. When the market's shitty, everything's cheap.
Well, and everything's cheap, you buy it up, and then
when it comes back up,
there's peaks and valleys.
Yep.
The only thing that'll stop this is Armageddon of some sort, like.
And then we need Bruce Willis to come out of retirement.
Right.
Him and Ben Affleck.
Well, I mean, like end of the world stuff.
No, I know.
Like
that's why I was saying
like
the
Book of Eli, where people are like trading shit because there's no.
Well, that's they trade dirt and water.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm talking about though. Like gold is only as valuable as we put it. You know, the value we give it is only as valuable as it is.
Yeah.
You know, water world is an example of that. I mean, it's water planet, and they trade dirt.
Yeah.
Dirt. I mean, dirt. You look at dirt all the time, but it's just like water in general.
Because dry soil, you can use that to
make plants and stuff. No, I understand. I get it. I'm just saying though.
We're eventually going to go back to a time where food is currency and ways to make food is currency.
It's insane to think about, just because we get food everywhere, and if it were to just stop, if for one day food production just stopped or whatever, no one was selling food just vanished for one day, that'd be so disruptive to our planet.
By the way, if you guys are wondering how we jumped topics from UFC to this, it's because we took a potty break, and it's how it started back up.
Yeah, we're talking about Bitcoin because I was looking at Bitcoin is worth $10,000 now, which is crazy. I mean, it's not that crazy, but it is crazy.
It is crazy because it doesn't exist. That's what's crazy about it. It's not. There's no physical representation of it.
Yeah, but it's just like money in your bank account. Does that really exist?
But I can pull it out and use it on stuff.
Yeah, but your money doesn't really exist, though.
No. Right now, the money I have in the bank belongs to somebody else. You know,
it just happens to be protected by the government.
The whole currency thing kind of like really confuses the shit out of me. Like in theory, you could make debt disappear.
Just by taking it away.
But just by saying this doesn't exist anymore. Like we need to watch that AIB video if it had translations about the replacing exchange of currency. Yeah, exactly. Like that's. I mean, it's just think about it. Like, when did like currency become something like really worthwhile? Like, I mean, I know the Romans had coins, but that had to do more with because
there's a lot of barter systems prior to currency. Exactly.
Like I do something, you do something, we make a trade.
Which I feel like still exists to a certain degree. You can't buy a building.
I think that kind of disappeared with the Industrial Revolution because people went from like having
turned more into favors.
Yeah,
I feel like
now you went from, your last name was Smith because you're a blacksmith, and now people don't go to you because the factory fucking mass produces, and those guys making those knives and whatever they're not blacksmiths. It's not a craft anymore. Shoemakers.
Yeah, but currency can't be the last step in the evolutionary process for money exchange.
I mean, fuck, dude, we've been using coins for fucking 3,000 years now.
So then I know. So why wouldn't something like Bitcoin, digital currency, be the next step?
I just think it's hard for people to take something they can't hold in their hand serious.
You can hold it in your hand. You can hold a credit card.
That's not the same though.
You can withdraw that as money though. That's the thing.
I can go and take my card.
If I have 2 Bitcoin right now,
pull it out.
If I have 2 Bitcoin right now,
if you have 2 Bitcoin,
I can go to the bank and withdraw it.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
You cannot go to Chase with 2 Bitcoin.
It depends on what Yes, you can.
No,
maybe not Chase specifically.
No, for you to get the money from your Bitcoin, you would have to sell it, and that money that you sell it for, then you could go and take that out. There's a process to it, but you couldn't go.
It depends on. No, it's not true.
But it's just like a stock. It's just like a stock. Like I can own 1 million fucking shares of stock.
You can pay for things in the moment live with the Bitcoin card. You can.
But then you'd have to find specific people that accept Bitcoin.
No, it's just a debit card.
I don't know if I buy that, man.
It is. You do sell it, but the way it works is it just gets it's not like that. Now it was like that. You can use because the whole point of
you got your computer right there. Look up banks that accept Bitcoin.
The whole purpose,
like if I got a fucking euro, I have to go into the bank to have them exchange it. Like
the whole purpose of Bitcoin is it decentralizes banking, so there is no your own bank basically. The internet is the bank. It's your internet decided to take a shit right now. So let's see, U.S. Bank of America. Hasn't started yet, but it's starting to slowly start to accept it in markets. This is not an article. It says this right here: Goldman Sachs, Barclays, Citibank, UBS, BNP. These are just giants, banking giants. But anyway, I don't know why we're talking about Bitcoin. I mean, obviously, I just brought up I think it's crazy how it's worth $10,000.
Well, that's it, and that's the thing. The fact that you still have to say it's worth this much dollars means it's not what it is. We're not saying
it just keeps going up.
But we're not saying that this is worth half a Bitcoin. This is worth a quarter of a Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, it's all new. It's all new. That's the thing too. It hasn't really entered the lexicon of the world yet.
I just, maybe it's just me not really knowing what the fuck it is completely.
Which is what I point. It's new. You don't know. Not just you, but people. Me either. I still don't really know what it is either.
Like I said, as human beings, we value trinkets so much that it's hard for me to see people embracing something that you can't physically touch, hold, smell, etc., etc.
No, I'm with you. I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I just think that eventually, we're going to move on to a place where, maybe it is all digital. I don't know. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I mean, at the rate we're going, we're just printing money now, we being United States. So
right.
That's the other thing that's crazy. It's just like
I don't know how this whole debt crisis thing works, at all. I don't understand
how much we're in debt.
No one can seem to explain it, the whys and hows and
Currently, our national debt is $19.8 trillion.
And who do we owe that money to? I know
China's part of it.
China's
the big part of it.
But what happens if we say, you know what, fuck you, China, we're not going to give you this?
See, the thing is, I forget what movie it was. Freakonomics, I think it was. Some documentary I watched. It might be outdated now, but it was if China decides to pull out or they decide to collect on their loans or whatever it is, we're done as a country. That's what it proposed. I don't know if it's supposed to scare you, but it's actually $20.5 trillion going up. I'm on the debt clock right now, which is just I don't even know.
But if you go and take a look, it seems like every country in the world is in debt to something or someone.
Not as much as we are, though. So China, 2 trillion, Japan, 11 trillion, Germany, 2 trillion.
Yeah, who does China owe the fucking money to? That's what I'm saying. Like, who the fuck is collecting this money, and what are they gonna do if you say, you know what, I'm not gonna fucking pay it?
Well, I think that is what the United States is doing now.
They're saying, "Oh, fuck you, I'm not gonna pay it."
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't understand. Like, this is like, I needed to take a class, and maybe I'll go to like the junior college and see if I can find I don't know if it's an econ class or what, but how this all fucking works. Like, if China pulls out,
I don't know how Saudi Arabia is in debt.
Yeah, exactly. Every country in the world's in debt, but
164 billion.
Who are they in debt to?
They're probably in debt to each other. I mean, I don't know. Well, it's not like. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know.
Right.
I don't.
Doesn't that trip you out?
Well, I've never thought about it like that, but I guess it does kind of.
It's like what's the name?
What's
the name of the Jewish family in the
how could U.S.
the Rothschilds? The Rothschilds, the ones that own everything.
That's what I said, the Illuminati, man. Because you got to think, if China owes $2 trillion and we owe 20, who is China getting $2 trillion from?
Right.
Obviously, it's probably not the same source.
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe it's like weapons deals. Like, we're only going to pay for half up front, and you can just throw the rest to our tab.
Yeah.
And we'll pay interest on it. And then they just, I don't know. So right now, okay, second highest, like I said, is Japan with $11 trillion, followed by, there's no one.
Nobody talks about that Japan and their debt. Like,
no one. Well, there's only, let's see, 3, 6, 10 countries that are in the trillions of debt. USA with 20, China with 2, Japan 11, Germany with 2, UK 2, France 2, India 1.3, Italy 2.5, Brazil is 1.4. I don't know how. Did not know that they made that much money. That's not a slight at Brazil either. I just did not know that. Canada 1.6. So there you go. And then everyone else is in the billions. Argentina 300 billion, Australia 600 billion, Belgium 500, etc.
There's got to be an article or something explaining
Mexico 500 billion.
How countries owe, who the fuck they owe.
Oh, Spain owns 1.3 trillion.
Oh, that sucks for Spain because they ain't got shit going on.
Taiwan is 166 billion. Well, some of these countries their gross is way more than their debt, except in America. Our GDP is 19 trillion and we're 20 trillion in debt. So
yeah, well, part of that has to do with because all the corporations here like go to China to fucking produce their stuff.
The GDP is 11 trillion in China. China's making the most money, man. Well, besides us, but
well, yeah, because it's still okay to like have slave factories over there.
Hey, man, I like my iPhone.
All I'm saying is that's why.
No, I know. I'm just being sarcastic. Yeah. I mean, I love my iPhone. Don't get me wrong. I love my laptop. I love my cameras. I love my lights. I like all the shit I get from China. It's just ironic to me. I love.
Well, it's hypocritical. That's something really hypocritical in this country.
I love it when people like try to be all pro this or that, and then it's like, oh, you're using a smartphone? Shut the fuck up. I mean, it's true, man.
Well, it's just everything you own. Like, unless you like make a dedicated like effort.
Unless you're living off the grid, literally powering everything by solar, even though your panels are probably from China. But it's just like you can't. There's no way for you to be completely free from like hurting other human beings in one way or the other.
I think if you wanted to be like 100% American made stuff, you'd have to make a huge concentrated effort. Yeah, you'd have to buy older stuff. Like, I don't think I wonder if there's any. We'd have to look it up, see if there are any televisions made in the U.S. Like, are any electronics made in the U.S.?
Electronics made in USA. I feel like computer processors are. Genuinely. Like, I just feel like it. I don't know why, but my gut says that. Crayola crayons.
Okay.
Made in the USA.
So my kid, he's supporting it.
The steel chainsaw. The Wolf Range oven. Pendleton's made in the USA.
Daniel's wearing like a Target fucking flannel.
Bitch, it's Levi's. Okay, so apparel and accessories. These are the companies. Allen Edmonds shoe, American Apparel. Of course, you got to be made in America.
That's American Apparel is owned by Canada, by the way, a Canadian company.
Well, it's made in America. Chippewa boots, Filson Apparel, Kepner Scott children's shoes, Pendleton, like I said, Stetson hats, True Religion and Texas jeans, Wiggum socks.
Can't fit in it. My ass is too big for True Religion jeans.
All Clad Lodge and Nordic Wear, Cookware, Bun Coffee Makers, Decor, DCS, Hardened Furniture, Kirby and Orek vacuum cleaners, Lasco fans.
80% of what you're spouting.
These are all houseware items.
I've never heard of any of these.
Pyrex glasswares.
Pyrex. I got Pyrex bowls.
Subware, Sub-Zero refrigerators, Viking and Wolf ranges. Others, Airstream trailers, Annan flags, Crayola crayons, Gibson and Martin guitars, Louisville Slugger bats, Little Tykes and Connects toys, Sharpies, Steinway pianos, Wilson sporting goods. I didn't know Wilson was made in America. Well, there you go.
Well, I had a Wilson.
Brooks Brothers.
I had a Wilson A2000 glove that got stolen. It's a 300 something.
Those are expensive gloves.
Yeah, I got it for cost because.
Did a Mexican steal it?
No, my buddy Charlie actually he knew the owners of the sporting goods store and they gave it to him at cost, so I got it for like 180 or something.
That's pretty good, man.
Yeah, and it got stolen anyways by this fucking half Filipino or half Guamanian, half Puerto Rican guy that played on my team.
Oh, so he was Hispanic. All right, I was close. I knew it was someone.
You know, or he was either Hispanic or the Mexicans of Asia. You know, one or the other.
Well, I'm just saying. So no, there's not a lot of things made here in the U.S. anymore.
Well, no electronics, that's for sure.
I was okay. Let's type in electronics made in. Oh, I did type that in, and that's what it came up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really. Let's see. I'm trying to look. Well, Tesla.
Well, when he starts making TVs, I will be the first in line.
The Apple Mac Pro apparently is made here.
Okay, so if I want to watch streaming stuff, if I get an Apple Mac Pro,
that's the trash can computer.
Yeah, the big one, right?
Yeah.
But
the maker.
What about the guts? The guts of.
We'll see. That's the thing. Yeah. I don't know. Lenovo computers.
But that's owned by China.
Well, they're made here. According to this is 2015. See, these articles are all outdated. That's hilarious. Not to say that everything made in America is better, but I mean, we were just talking about this the other day or yesterday actually about how my dryer needs to be fixed. And it's probably better to fix it than it is to replace it because they last forever.
Yeah.
And a new dryer is probably be broken. And then you made the joke that the dryer's probably killing animal species worldwide. And I said that's probably how it feeds itself.
Right.
Once there's not enough species it can endanger, it just stops working.
Done.
I mean, because this is nothing to do. This is a jump here, but it's just like bees. Like thinking about bees. I think people should take more, I don't know, care. That's not the right word.
Dude, there's that many ignorant people in this world that have no idea the value of bees.
Of honeybees. People need to take it seriously, man. Like, I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I was younger, I'd be like, oh, fucking bee. Oh, no, it's going to sting me. I've never been stung by a bee, but I was always, like, afraid of bees because they could sting you. And I hated needles, so I still hate needles. Like, if I have to get shots, it's the worst. If I have to do dental work, that's the worst. I just hate that. You feel it for a second, and it's gone. I don't know. I can't do it. Too many horror movies as a kid. I don't know. But anyway, that was a weird transition from USC to this.
I mean, to bring it back full circle, how do you feel about that Jose Aldo, Max Holloway fight, part 2? Jose Aldo's another guy where I don't know.
Well, he was supposedly injured on the first fight. I thought the first fight was okay.
Hey, I hate to make these gross generalizations here, but of all the fighters in the UFC, the Brazilians seem to make the most excuses.
Oh, I was injured. Oh,
there's always an excuse when a Brazilian fighter loses. So I'm like, were you really injured, dude, or are you old? You know, and are these like, what kind of injuries did you have? Like, everybody has nagging injuries.
It's true.
You know,
but also you have to realize, well, you still got knocked the fuck out by Conor McGregor in 15 seconds.
You did.
And at first I chalked it up to like chance, but as like time's gone on, it's like no, he got knocked the fuck out by Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he did.
And
it was well timed.
It was like, because I start to think like when I first started watching UFC and stuff, if I would have saw something like that, I would have been like, oh, that's kind of bullshit. Like they should fight again. Like that wasn't a real fight.
I mean, fluky knockouts exist.
Well, the thing is, I don't think it was a fluke. I think as I've watched the sport more and more, yeah, they happen, but it's also a culmination of different factors. Age is being one of them. Underestimating your opponent. Actually being that good of a fighter where you can. I mean, he took a punch coming in. Conor did on that,
and the thing with
still knocked him out.
The thing with the Aldo fight too is like, if anything, he allowed Conor to take him out of his mental game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know? So that was like on a yeah.
He was defeated before he even entered the ring. And that's that's Jose not controlling his emotions or whatever that might be. Because I mean, it's just
to be honest, if you look at the past few fights before he faced Conor, he didn't look that great. You know, he's already gassing by the third round a lot of times. You know, it looked like the weight cut was really like weighing on him. You know, because he's kind of a tweener guy too, where he's probably too small for 155, but.
Do you think he deserves the rematch as his next fight?
I mean, when did the fight end? Like the third or fourth round?
Third round.
Okay. I mean, that's a little different than like he didn't deserve an immediate rematch versus Conor. Obviously, he got starched in 13 seconds.
I just mean like, do you think he should? Because how do you?
They didn't want to. This is a showcase for Max Holloway, so they wanted to make sure that he was fighting.
They want Jose to get knocked out, is what you're saying again?
If not knocked out, they want a good fight, but they definitely want Max Holloway to win.
See, what I don't understand, and this is like,
I mean, I'm all for chaos. So if he loses, and that's like the fourth champion to lose.
I mean, that's how the UFC's been going now for a while. Like it's just been this back. There's no reigning champions other than Mighty Mouse right now, in my opinion. I mean, Bisping was kind of, and GSP came back and won. Which I still wonder what's going to happen with him. I don't know if he's going to like. I mean, he's obviously going to fight at least one more time, but it's like
I don't think.
Who is he going to fight that wouldn't manhandle him?
He's not going to fight at 185. I think he cherry picked this fight. He knew what he was doing.
The comeback fight,
and it was a good comeback fight because he didn't have to go like on a crazy weight cut. You know, he probably cut maybe 5 to 10 pounds. So he did that like that way he can get himself back into shape to go at 170. And I mean, from what I've heard, his next fight is going to be like Tyron Woodley,
which I would love to watch.
And he's another guy that's defended, but he's probably the worst champion in the UFC.
Who?
Tyron Woodley.
Oh yeah, for sure. I thought you say GSP. Well, the thing to go back to what's his name, to Jose, like. Joanna, in my opinion, she deserves a rematch.
Yeah,
because she was. It would be like if Wonder Boy, if Mighty Mouse lost his title, I think the next fight should be him again. You earned it. Jose Aldo lost the title to Conor,
and then lost again,
and that's it. That means you got to go back into the pool. You got to earn your shit. Now that could mean you fight ranked 1, ranked 2 opponents. Because you didn't lose you're not out of the contention entirely, but you don't get it. I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just to me, it's a money thing more than anything.
Well,
else.
It's definitely a money thing. I think now we're at
the money fight era.
We're at the point that now that Zuffa doesn't own the UFC, you're gonna see more super fights, more like undeserved title matches because. WME invested a lot of money into this company.
Well, that just means you're going to have the title changing hands way more often.
You could definitely see that. And that, I mean, is that a bad thing?
No, because I also think that.
I mean, it's a bad thing on the long term because you're not able to build a brand because you have no one to put as the face of your company.
So like
we don't even know if McGregor's ever going to come back.
Oh, he'll come back.
He might if he needs to. But if he comes back, we don't know if he's going to like win
or he's going to fight as much or what he's going to do. Or because he might ask for that stake in the company. Because now all the ball's in his court. But I was going to say about Kevin.
And then what happens though if you give him a piece of the company, and then he ends up getting knocked out,
and he loses his very first fight.
Yeah, Tony Ferguson's no joke. Tony Ferguson, he's a tough match.
Well, so I know we're jumping all over the place, but like to go off the Zuffa thing and what you were just saying. So like someone like Kelvin Gastelum, he fights Bisping, right? when Bisping lost to GSP, I still keep him in the top 3 in the division. You know, maybe his last fight would have been a rematch or something. Maybe not a rematch, but some other fight, maybe, you know, because he's kind of earned it. You lose to Kelvin, regardless if it's been 3 weeks or not, blah, blah, blah. Does that automatically throw Kelvin in the top? Because he called out, what's his name?
GSP?
No.
Tyron Woodley?
Who did he call on? He called out,
Yoel Romero?
No, hold on. I think he called out Robert Whittaker. That's who he called out.
Oh, he's like the interim 185 champ.
And it's like, does he deserve
weird,
that?
Like how Bisping was the champ and then Whittaker's the interim champ. I hate how they do that. Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Just stay at number 1.
Yeah. Does he deserve it? I don't know if he deserves it.
He was ranked 7.
Gastelum, you know, I think Gastelum GSP would be a good fight since they're both undersized guys at 185. That would actually be pretty interesting. Whittaker, I haven't seen enough of him. He's also Australian, so he doesn't really have that market share.
Well, regardless of if you could have,
I don't think Gastelum deserves a big shot like that after beating Bisping.
That's what I'm saying. That has nothing to do with who's the champion or not.
That's
it's
like,
just, do you go from 7 to rank 1?
If we want to look at this complete context, you know, he fought a guy on short rest who shouldn't have taken the fight in the first place, and he knocked him out. That's great, but I don't necessarily think that deserves.
He needs to move up.
And
in the
Gastelum
rankings.
also got choked out by Chris Weidman.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's, you know, dude's just weird. He's in a weird place because he can't seem to make that cut down to 170, but he's just not big enough to fight at 185 against, like, I don't think he would stand a chance against Yoel Romero.
I don't understand, and I mean this sincerely. I really don't get it. If fighting is your dream or that's what you like, why don't you just stay healthy? Is it because his punch packs that much power? He feels like he could slack off a little bit?
Maybe, or we don't know what his, you know, physiological issues are. It could be he just can't lose those extra 5 pounds, you know.
Well, Joe Rogan always says that because I guess he was paying some not weight trainer, but like a nutritionist or something.
His fight, Mike Dolce.
And it was all great, and then he stopped paying for him, and then he's kind of put the weight back on. But it's just like, okay, are fighters not making that much money, or are nutritionists that expensive?
I think both. That's definitely both an issue.
Well, I feel like maybe UFC should pay for nutritionists then. I mean, because you got to think there has to be something. You can't continuously lose fighters because of weight or whatever. I mean,
that would probably be ideal, but some people just can't. I don't know. He's not a fighter, but Pablo Sandoval is an example where the guy just could not keep the weight off. He
plays better though with the weight on,
which is weird, and that's probably part of the reason why he keeps eating. Well, he plays better with the weight onto a certain weight.
Yeah, of course.
And once he gets past it, he's terrible. You know, and he's terrible when he's skinny.
He has to keep his fat. In check.
So, and it's just tough. Like some of these guys, if you've grown up eating a certain way your whole life,
man.
It's just hard.
I've been trying to like cut back on carbs and sugars, not take them out or anything by any means, but just like actually be aware. And last week I went to the movies and I had a soda, and I haven't had a soda in a while. The next day, my very next meal, I didn't even get a big soda or anything. I got a kid size, which was actually like, it'd be like a large at McDonald's anyway, but it was like a kid's. From just that one thing, I had tamales, and I was like, "Fuck, man, I want a Coke." Like that crack fiendness came out, and I'm like, "Man, I want it." Yeah. And then I just told myself, "No, that's how I haven't wanted a Coke in weeks at all. I could have had tamales every day.
You get that taste,
and it was just like, man, that sugar taste. I want it.
I know the feeling. Like right now, if I'm driving late, I don't like to drink coffee or take any of these caffeine supplements.
Because you'll be up all night.
Because I'll be up and I'll be like bouncing off the walls when I get home and I'm done. So instead, I'll get like a Slurpee or something, because for whatever reason, that sugar, that caffeine, and the cold, like
by the time you get home, you crash.
Yeah, I crash out, and it keeps me up. But like now, I'm with you. Like I fucking have more like cravings for this sugar poison water than I did before. Like when we were at SC, I barely drank soda. I think every so often I would grab one.
I would drink Squirt.
I would grab one like when it was the same thing. Like if it was gonna be a late night and I just needed enough caffeine to get me through, like I would grab a Coke or something like that. But yeah, now it's like
I had one soda for Thanksgiving.
I'm thinking about a soda right now.
I had one soda for Thanksgiving. That's it. I haven't talked about this on the podcast, but I talked to you about it previous to that. So I guess I don't know if it's a new regulation by California law or whatever, but they have the daily percentage value on a Coke can now, and it's 79% of your daily intake for sugar.
I think that's been on cans for a long time.
Not for sugar. It's the first time I know for a fact. It's the first time I've ever seen it. It's always been there, like it has 39 grams of sugar or whatever, but it never had the percentage next to it.
Right.
I was just thinking, like, man, all the times I was a kid and I have 3 or 4 cans playing video games.
Oh yeah,
4 or 5 cans plus Gatorade.
You're just killing yourself.
And I was just like, fuck. No wonder why fucking Mexicans get diabetes all the time. Like, it really makes me start to look at other people and judge them.
There's that. There's a lot of stuff. High sugar, like when you're a teenager. That's why a lot of teenagers get acne because all the sugar.
Well, that's genetics. I've been told numerous times.
No, I don't buy that at all. I don't buy that. The sugar company owns everybody. That's the reason why you've been getting pushed sugary cereal since you were a small, fruit roll-ups. Capri Suns, everything is packed with sugar. The only reason why we drink juice nowadays is because the orange industry had all these extra oranges. They didn't know what to do with them, so they instead turned it into a beverage so that they could sell more of it.
Google says it's genetics.
I don't believe that shit. That's bullshit. Watch it. If you cut out sugar, well, you're already fucked. Your face is done. If you cut sugar out from someone who's hormonal, they're not going to get that their skin's not going to be that way. You can make a big correlation. Anyone with bad skin usually has a bad diet. It's not that whole that it's genetic is fucking horseshit.
I don't agree. I just don't. I think we just have to agree to disagree.
This is coming from a guy who's had a bad diet his entire fucking life. So like you really don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to that. Like you've never eaten well, you've never exercised.
So you're going to tell me people like Katy Perry and shit like that, they have bad diets?
Yeah, Katy Perry was a fucking fat ass until she started fucking singing, dude. Look at Katy Perry when she first came out. Well, not a fat ass in your fucking eyes. Katy Perry was not thin when she came out. She's like thinned up now and she's fit and shit, but she was, yeah.
I don't agree with that either. I don't. She wasn't fat. Okay, give me a year then, and I'll look.
Name the first single that she had. Look at her then, and then look at her now.
I'll put 2000. Katy Perry 2000.
Katy Perry wasn't around in 2000.
Well, I know.
Look up, I kissed her.
She's so fat.
I kissed a girl and I liked it. And no, this is all context because the fucking what you consider fat is different than what I consider fat. She was not a skinny though.
I'm looking at her in 2007 and there's not a fat bone in her body.
She was not skinny.
She doesn't look fat to me.
Like I said, it's all context.
I don't even mean in like Daniel world. I mean like she doesn't look fat at all.
Look at her now. Compare that picture to.
She looks skinnier now.
She looks way skinnier.
Then, not now.
She looks way skinnier.
Then.
So you think she's gained weight since she first came out?
For sure.
I don't agree with that at all.
Well, you're not looking at the pictures I'm looking at. Watch the videos. I don't need to look at the video. It's irrelevant. I'm just saying. From for literally every dermatologist I've ever talked to, and I've talked to plenty because I've had shitty skin forever. All genetics.
Well, you're also talking to doctors.
Yeah,
okay, so this is a completely different argument then. But I'm for one don't listen to a word any fucking doctor says because it's their job to peddle fucking drugs to you. That's their job now. Doctors don't cure anything. Doctors make you feel better.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that I.
Look here, it's genetics. You take some fucking Retin-A.
You can't sit there and say genetics don't play a role. If you want to make the argument that they're not the main role,
if you want to say on a base level, of course, there's an aspect to it in some form or another.
I'll concede with you there. But for you to outright say it has nothing to do with it,
I don't think it's a big enough factor for it to be the complete blame. And this all comes from the pharmaceutical company and all these other corporations that control our lives right now.
I don't know. I think there has to be some sort of underlying truth to some of it.
Like I said, you can make anything sound like the truth. Anything you say is a fact. Anything you say is true. Anything you say is a lie.
I'm not saying diet.
Like if you
you
make a compelling enough argument, I can say, yeah, this is true. Like if you keep like stretching it out, like this.
They're all factors, right? They're all factors.
I think and I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. That's like it's a loose argument because it's a very minor factor.
If my diet was perfect, that doesn't mean I'm going to be exempt from breakouts.
There's a book that it doesn't 100% because there's no absolutes in this.
It's going to help.
But there's no absolutes in this life.
Yeah, I know. So I'm agreeing with you.
But
it'll help. It's not going to hurt you.
There's a book out there called the Sugar Blues, and it came out like in the 1950s. And the guy actually he talks in the book about how much sugar started getting into people's diets and how their skin started getting bad. It started breaking out. Like all these problems that didn't exist before started happening because.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to put in genetics has to do with it. That's all I'm trying to say. Hey, man. I mean, so all dermatologists in the history of the world.
What kind of argument is that when fucking like the 1% chance means that it's a chance? Like, oh, it's 1% factor, so it's a factor. Like that's.
Well, everyone's different, right? It's a case by case basis.
It is a case by case basis to a certain extent.
All I know is I wish I never. I mean, yeah, they do peddle. I mean, I remember I had to take antibiotics and then I stopped because I was like, well, first of all, this shit's not helping. Like I don't.
Yeah.
It made me feel sick, and then now that I'm older, I realize that like you shouldn't be throwing that much antibiotics in your body anyway. Which I'm glad that I stopped. Actually, I didn't stop. The doctor stopped prescribing it. He said it's probably too much.
Like they realized that they were fucking poisoning you.
And the good thing about it is I was inconsistent, which is probably why it wasn't working. I would just because what it would do is I was supposed to take it on an empty stomach, but if I took it on an empty stomach, it would make me sick. And I was supposed to take it in the morning, and I was going to school,
right? And
I would be literally like feel like vomiting, and I would so they would say, well, you can take it with food up to a certain point or whatever.
Started moving the goalposts.
Yeah, and so I did, but then I would just forget about it because I would just fucking who cares? Like I'm not gonna risk it. It doesn't matter. So like, good thing I didn't take as much as I should have. But I don't know. Why are we talking about that again? How do we get on that?
I have no idea. We just went down that argument wormhole.
Because you're trying to fucking argue that Katy Perry was fat. That's why.
I still she had thick ankles, bro. She was a meat bomb.
I think you just like fat shaming people.
I love fat shaming people. I'm not going to deny that for a fucking second. That's that's not a condition for sure. That's a thing. I hate that.
Diabetes is though.
Yeah, type 1 diabetes is. Type 2 is self-inflicted.
That's what we're talking about. Coke cans and how 80% of your sugar. And I was thinking like, geez, I need to get good thing I was already in this like state of like, all right, I'm just going to just treat food as a source of energy as opposed to like a source of pleasure. Doesn't mean I'm not going to have In-N-Out every so often or whatever because that's just retarded. But then I started looking at things. I'm like, man, these Oreos, I don't eat Oreos, but I'm just thinking like something like an Oreo.
Oreos are vegan.
They taste great. Oreos taste great, but they were also manufactured. Like I'd love to give Oreos to people in the Amazon forest, like those like tribesmen.
They'd probably like start keeling over immediately.
Just have super, super huge spot. They just have diabetes.
That's how we should test our skin theory. We need to go to the Amazon and go look and see how their skin is. And if fucking...
Well, they might have great genetics. So that might
The entire tribe has great genetics. That's funny. I actually... there's something that like fucking like super right-wing white guys like to... I don't know why they even bother mentioning it, but like internet warriors like to talk about test scores in regards to like race and how
do you test score race?
Like the SATs. So
okay.
So that the SATs, like Asians score the highest, followed by white people, and at the very bottom is black people by like substantial amounts. And they like to, this is a proof right here that, you know.
Well, I can tell you right now why that's wrong, but go ahead.
No, absolutely.
It's because fucking white people and Asian people, A, they can afford to take the test more than once. B, they take the test more than once.
Yeah.
And C, they're taking the test at all.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. I remember being in high school And the school itself
never pushed it.
Never once pushed the SATs. Not one fucking time did I hear a teacher say, hey guys, you're going to prepare for your SATs? Not once. And this is a public high school. Not one time. It was only because I was enrolled in a college preparedness, whatever the fuck program.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're gonna make sure. And it was, and the only reason why I took the damn test is because I was able to get on the free lunch program.
Yeah.
And you got one test free per year.
So you said, fuck it.
I only took it once. I took the SATs once, and I realized I'm going to community college. This is stupid. Because I was just like, I'm not going to try extra hard. So for me, that's what started it all. Like my first SAT test, I didn't even score bad, but they were like, "Oh no, you could totally do better. It's a good score, but you could take this 2 or 3 more times, and they're only gonna accept your best one." And I just said, you know what? I told myself I'm not gonna do this.
There's another aspect to that too. Like, if you have the money, you can pay for an SAT tutor. You can have someone train you to take the SAT. Like it's anybody who thinks that fucking what are these tests called?
Standardized testing.
Standardized testing is like the best way to.
And there's SAT 2, the ACT.
There's a pre-SAT.
There's all these fucking tests.
Yeah, I took the pre-SAT and I started getting like a million fucking letters from colleges, and I was like, this is fucking weird. Like this doesn't even count.
Oh, because they were like, oh yeah, you continue to do good, and we'll take your money.
Yeah. And this without looking at my transcripts, because by that time I'd been smoking pot, fucking drinking. Like I can attest, like high school smoking pot, not good for you.
I'm glad I didn't do that.
Like my grades went down, everything went down.
I'm totally glad that I did. Like
no, that's something with my son that I really need to figure out how I can approach it. Like because I don't want him to be like, no, I'm never gonna touch this shit. I don't want to be that guy, but I need to like, how do you tell someone young that if you're gonna do this stuff at this age, it's gonna affect you?
I think you just start to wait. I mean, you tell them straight up, just like that.
Like it's fucking proven that if you start taking these chemicals at an early age, it affects your development.
Well, I mean, I could speak from experience. For me, seeing like I've had no desire to drink because it tastes like shit. That's genuinely. I mean, even as a little kid, growing up Catholic, you have to drink the wine because it's the blood. I fucking hated it. Yeah. Because it just tasted like shit. Like genuinely tasted like crap. I've never liked to taste alcohol, no matter what it is. I don't care. Like, ooh, try Fireball. It tastes like cinnamon, or taste Jägermeister. It tastes like black licorice, which black licorice sucks. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, anybody that likes black licorice is weird.
And I'll drink a margarita, a sweetened one. Why? Because it tastes like a Slurpee and you can't taste the alcohol. Like, I'm a fruity drink guy because that's just, you don't taste it. You don't taste
Anything that drowns the taste of the alcohol.
Absolutely. Cider, same thing. Like, because you can't taste it, right? So to me, alcohol is a social beverage, 100%. And I feel like if you're not drinking it in a social setting, then you're probably an alcoholic, which is fine. Whatever. It is what it is. That's up to you. I mean, it depends on what we define as drinking. You know, a beer or two is not an alcoholic, but if you're having a case at night by yourself, you're probably on that.
I think the key is by yourself. How much you drink by yourself is probably a sign of
that's what I'm
saying. If you have an issue or not, for sure.
If you have a glass or two of wine or a beer or two, that's not, especially after a long day of work or something, there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. But if you have 35 beers in a night by yourself, it's probably But anyway, speaking on myself, this wasn't my parents because I guess it's funny, as I get older I find out that like my home life was better than a lot of people's, and I'm not bragging. That's just the way the world works, and I just didn't know that. It
took you 10 years to realize that your shitty home life wasn't so shitty.
Yeah, well, I've never said it was shitty. That's the other thing too. But yeah, like you would think, oh, so-and-so has better because they can get X, Y, and Z video games or whatever.
I want to see angsty Daniel. My parents suck.
No, that was never me. It just wasn't. Because I didn't understand, like, because people would say that. I'm like, what? It's your mom or it's your dad or whatever. And then as you grow up. But I saw what alcohol did to other people's parents. Yeah. Physical abuse, yelling, all this other shit. And I'd never been drunk, so I didn't know what, any of that. I just figured that they were angry people. But then I realized, like, alcohol. But anyway, that was that.
So did you see any of your friends get their ass beat by their dad?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
yelled at and shit like that, but never like physical. I mean, what happened behind closed doors, that's another thing. I don't know, but never that. But it was just to the point where it was like, yeah, I don't want any part of that. But what I was going to say is, and I don't want to throw my cousins under the bus or anything, so I won't say which cousins, but I was on Snapchat and I saw my youngest cousin drinking and hitting a weed vape pen. I'm assuming it was weed, but I'm going to assume. And he's not of age for any of this. And I wanted to like say something, but then I was like, well, he's a kid. But I still wanted to say something. It's weird. That's so like.
Was he in high school or is he in college?
High school.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's 14.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. But then I'm thinking like, well, there was a lot of kids who were 14 that I know were drinking and doing that shit. But it's just like, yeah, but they were 14. You know, I have a different perspective now. Like, I don't think that's cool. I don't think he should think that's cool.
Right.
But he's also not me. He's also popular in school. You know what I mean? So it's like, what's the balance between that?
I think you need to take a look and see how many of the popular kids end up successful.
Or are his actual friends.
Right. Well, not whatever. Like, I think teenage friends are fleeting, but I think there's something to be said, like how successful, popularity in high school versus success after high school. So I think most of the kids in college weren't the popular kids, and they become popular in college.
Well, I can say, again, from experience that all of the kids who are like most popular, et cetera, they're just now graduating school. Those who actually went on to college.
Right.
I mean, I've graduated, it's been 3 years now, 4 years. Not that I have anything to show for it per se, but like when my mom would tell me, oh, I saw so-and-so today. He's just graduating. He's about to graduate. And in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck?
He's about to graduate from fucking Long Beach State.
Yeah, from community college. He's about to which is cool, man. There's no requirement on these things because it doesn't benefit you one way or the other, in my opinion. But it's just like,
no, I think the thing that you need to factor in is that it just shows how like unimportant your teenage years are. I think that's one way of looking at it. Like everyone thinks like,
would you change your teenage years?
Fuck yeah, I would, dude. I was a bad kid, man. I was a fuck up for real. I was an asshole. I'm one of those guys that had to go back to college after I had a whole career before I went back to college. You know what I mean? Like a blue collar college or a blue collar career. And it was different. And you know, it's something like, I think it's a good experience on one hand, because not to insult anyone.
Well, you found yourself, though, through doing all that.
Well, it was very apparent right off the bat that I was a lot smarter. I was on a different level. I don't want to say smarter. I was on a different level mentally than a lot of people that I worked with, to the point where they would say stuff to me like, why are you doing this? Why are you killing your body?
Why are you here?
Yeah, why are you killing your body? For simple shit, like doing like basic arithmetic in my head, like adding something faster than they can pull out their calculator to say something. Like just,
right.
You know, for like a 5 plus 7 plus 8, you know, shit like that. And I was like, boom, 20. Like, you know, like, and oh my God, like they were impressed by that kind of stuff. How I didn't need to write stuff down, like little things like that. And I'm like, okay, like, you know, for my brain, the actual mental acumen was a little different than theirs. But you can tell you're around people.
I know.
You know,
when I went to high school, I told this story probably on this podcast before, but when it came to because I went to Catholic school from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade, and my mom wanted me to continue private education at Mary Star, which was or Bishop, the only two like Catholic high schools that were also private in the area. And I told my mom, well, actually, she just wanted Mary Star, but I told my mom, if I have to go, I want to go to Bishop, because all of my actual friends were going to Bishop. But I had a girlfriend at the time, quote unquote, not really a girlfriend now that I actually know what girlfriends are. And she was going to public school, so I wanted to pursue the girl and go to public school. But my whole family went to San Pedro High School, so it was kind of like. Plus, I didn't understand. And I really, really felt this too. Like I had a conversation with my dad about it, and I told him straight out, like, I'm tired of being in private school. I don't like it. I don't like being told what to do, having to wear these stupid fucking uniforms, like having to cut my hair every 2 weeks because it can't be any longer than your collar or whatever, all this other bullshit, you know, having to shave when you're in 8th grade and you barely have any fucking stubble on your face. And it's like stupid shit, right?
Yeah.
Just really dumb crap. I was just tired of it. Having to go to mass every month. Like all these things that it was just annoying. I didn't like it. And
that one period where you have to do religious studies too.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every single day. And I remember those classes where I was being combative then, like questioning things, and I would get in trouble. I'd get ridiculed. And I remember having to get pulled out of class, and they were like, "Do you believe in God? Like, do you really?" Because these questions, and that stuff was pissing me off because it's like, why can't I? If this is so true and so powerful and whatever, you should be able to combat all my questions. I had to talk to a priest about it. That's how
that took you to that level.
I mean, I was a troublemaker, at least as far as that school. Like, apparently my name is still means something there. But
all you did was talk back.
Or, like, yeah, really just talk back, make jokes. Like, sometimes I was definitely that kid who probably said things that probably shouldn't have said, like, just went a little bit too far.
You're still
like
that kid sometimes.
Totally, but I'm changing, though. I'm changing. Like, like, that story, it didn't happen in 8th grade, but I remember I called this girl a rat. Because she fucking snitched on me and a bunch of other people. I forget what. I genuinely don't remember what it was. But she straight up tattletaled on us. And I fucking called her. I said, nobody likes a rat, and that's what you are. And then I did the rat noise. And she fucking told on me, and I got in trouble. Big trouble. It was a big thing. But whatever. The point is, though, I told my dad, I want to go to public school because I want to interact with real people. Because I was tired of, like, oh, so-and-so's 15. I mean, obviously this wasn't in Holy Trinity, but stuff like this was happening in 7th and 8th grade. You know, like some of the people I went to school with when they were 15 for their sweet 15, or not sweet 16, or whatever, sweet 16, they were getting BMWs and shit.
Yeah.
They don't even know how to fucking drive, and they're getting all these, like, that was annoying me. This, like, super rich people that were just not real people.
Right.
And, dude, like, first or second day of high school was at Pedro because I finally went to public school, and I knew right off the bat, like, my education was that's why I don't complain that I went to a private institution, because I was at a level, I was above average, not super above average at my Holy Trinity, but I was definitely, like, within the top 15% of the whole school, right? That's how I equated it. And then when you go to San Pedro, you're already in the top 10% already,
right?
Just by virtue of that. Even our retarded
just by
people
showing
there,
up.
Yeah, really. I mean, literally just by showing up. Like, people would ditch all... Like, I didn't understand. I didn't have comprehension for, like, jumping the fence to go get some tacos, or, like, to go home, to go drink. That made no sense to me. It just didn't compute with me.
Right.
But, you know... And
that a lot of that has to do with classroom size. You know? That's pretty much... when you start cramming 50 kids into one class... Some of them are going to
get lost,
They're going to get lost, exactly. But in private school, like...
We used to have 32. 32 was our class size. That was our max. I remember...
That's a big difference.
34 actually was the highest.
It's almost 20 people.
Because my number was always, like, in the 30s. Because you would be numbered.
I had to go... I went to public school from K through 6... Or not K, 1st through 6th grade. And my mom thought I was getting into too much trouble, so she made me go to a Christian school for junior high. And my class was 7th grade. There was 15 of us, and then we had to share with the 8th graders. So they had there was 12 8th graders, so there was 27 people total. And we
doing had 60 something people in our 8th grade class.
Shit, there you go.
But it was two sections.
But the next year they separated the 7th and 8th grade because they had more 7th graders. But it was still, there was only, I think there was 12 of us for that. And it's just different when you have that, because your teacher knows your name for sure.
Knows everything.
They know everything about you.
When they say they can call your mom.
Yeah.
They can call your mom.
Yeah, exactly. But it also, it allows them the time to focus on you.
What your strengths, what your weaknesses are.
If you're not picking up on something, they can say, okay, well, Johnny's not good in this subject, but fucking Billy over there is, so let me focus on Johnny more because Billy's getting it. And it helps. That helps. It helps a ton.
Plus, they weren't teaching the tests.
No.
We still had to take tests. Like, I don't think we had to take standardized testing because we were private, but they still made us take the SATs and all that stuff, even if it was just in-house. I don't remember if it was or not, but they didn't teach towards that. Because I remember that was the first thing we go to high school.
Because they don't have to, because they don't depend on funding.
Right.
You know? That's what the tuition's for. They don't depend on funding that the standardized tests go to. Like, if your school tests high enough, which is also stupid, the best scoring school gets the most money. The school that needs the most money.
My ninth grade science teacher made us take he literally said, hey guys, so let's make this a big collaborative effort, and you guys can share answers. We just need to get the best answers. And we literally just fucking cheated on the whole exam.
Oh my God.
Multiple times.
Don't say his name.
I'm not going to say his name. He was, I will say, he was the husband of a teacher I had in private school.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, you do what you got to do to save your job, man.
He was great. I mean, I don't know if he's a good teacher, but he was a great person.
Probably made more money than the private school teacher too, man.
I enjoyed his class for sure. Like, cause he was kind of a no nonsense, but he wouldn't fight you. But like, people respected him because of like his whole thing about, hey man, this is a job. I'm gonna teach you some science shit. If you're not gonna pay attention, at least turn in the homework and shut up.
Right.
Like, if you're not gonna talk, if you're not gonna participate, just don't talk.
Right.
That's my thing. Like, you can pass my class just by showing up, but just don't interrupt me.
That's a lot of public high schools.
But it's kind of, but the point is though, and I got to the point where after my 9th grade year, my counselors were like, all right, we want to enroll you into, because I enrolled in high school late because I didn't know that you were supposed to enroll like right after the semester ends in my 8th grade. And my dad thought, well, it's public school. You can just enroll the week before.
Just show up.
Not show up, but you can enroll the week before and it'd be okay.
Yeah.
And it was, but you just don't get any class placement because it's already kind of been all solidified.
Right.
And nothing bad happened. Like, it didn't affect me in any way.
You're supposed to take, I remember we have to take like a
orientation
test.
and all this stuff.
Well, you take a test too. You take a placement exam so they can figure out what classes.
That's what I didn't do.
They put you in all the dummy classes because.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time though, when it came time, like, all right, we're seeing your stuff. Like, you should be an AP or honors at the very least, but you should be an AP. I didn't want to do it.
No.
I just like, why? Like, I'd rather just. Because to me, high school was more about social interaction.
Right.
I mean, my history teacher, like, practically begged me to join her AP test.
And I'm telling you, now, that was a mistake on your part because college is for social interaction. I think high school.
I don't know, man. I mean, obviously, I'm still fucking socially retarded, so it didn't help me that much. But it showed me that there's more retarded people in the world than I would have known about going to a private high school. Because if I would have went to private high school and then I went to USC and I was already pretentious coming out of high school, I don't even know. I don't even know who I would be. Like, I just don't know. I feel like I'd get in more fights because I'd double down on myself more often.
That's definitely a possibility.
I don't know. But at the same time, though, it was beneficial to go to private school.
We're like just veering off into fucking outer space here, left and right, jumping from left to right.
I mean, we're talking about sugar.
Yeah.
And that.
Well, we're talking about, and then I brought up the thing that I read. Like, so there's Joe Rogan's talked about this guy in regards to Sam Harris. I think Sam Harris was on the show. So a guy wrote a book about like difference in mental capacity between races, and the guy got lambasted, and properly so. And one of the things he talked about in his book was like that sub-Saharan Africans, our IQ levels are like 20 points lower than the mean around the world.
That might be true, but it might also be because they don't have fucking schools that are like.
Let's throw the fucking school thing out the door. Let's just throw it out the door. I'm gonna bring up something else. What is the one thing that we know about Africa that we've been getting fucking thrown in our face for fucking years now?
They don't have water.
They don't have water. They don't have fucking food.
Or a reliable, like, they don't have to. We don't have to worry about getting eaten by lions.
No.
Or fucking buffalo. Not water buffalo, but hippos and alligators and shit like that.
Anything, the snakes, whatever they have out there. But it's like that's the thing. Like, you can't. How can you, as a scientist or whatever the fuck you do, like, actually trust your studies when you don't have an even playing field across the board?
Well, because it's true. Okay, so here's the thing.
What he's saying
what he's saying is probably true, but you're not taking
environmental
factors into consideration, and that's the thing. You always need some sort of constant variable in the experiment, because there isn't. What is the constant variable?
Right.
You don't have one there.
No, not at all.
Because your condition, if you took those people, you know, so because you'd either have to take people from America and put them in Africa or whoever you're comparing the studies against and see what they do for generations, or you take those people from Africa and put them in the States for generations, and then you can see what happens. Right. Because it's not fair.
And it's not, and the generations is the key word as well, because a lot of people
5 years isn't gonna
exactly. A lot of people say that shit now, where we've invested more money into the inner city to the schooling, and the schooling hasn't gotten better, and it's like, well, it's not gonna be. You're not gonna break a culture overnight. One class of kids 4 years isn't gonna do it, because
it's taken me 3 generations to not learn Spanish in my family.
There you go.
My dad knew it. Right. My mom knows a little bit of it, but she was like the start of it, and then so when it came time to me, it was English only.
Right.
But it took generations.
Yeah.
It'd be like me having a kid and expecting them to not speak English because China took over and they need to learn Chinese. Like, they're going to learn English.
Yeah.
2 or 3 generations, they might all speak Chinese. Right. But it's not like it's not going to be an English-speaking household.
Yeah, that first generation is going to be bilingual for sure. And he's going to speak Chinese and you're not.
And I'm not.
Yeah, so he's going
to swear at me in Chinese.
No, these are, I don't, fuck, man. I don't understand people at all when it comes, like, how does that not make sense? If you're like any sort of like
anthropologist,
but yeah, like
biologist,
like you're basically the study you're doing is already compromised, and you're like willing to accept the results of it because it's your study when you already know there's factors that are compromised. Like, and how are you going to get this study done too? Like,
who's going to pay for?
Yeah,
because I feel like
who's going to pay for? Like, let's get
the study should be. I feel like the study should be done, but then you have to acknowledge and say, hey, man, we need to improve the conditions of the people in Africa or whatever region you said, because look, they are performing lower, and it probably has to do with the diets. So let's try to throw diet out there. Yeah. Let's try to give them more stuff, and then we'll see what happens. Because at the end of the day,
well, even then, the study's still going to have issues
because you don't have enough time.
No, not yeah. It's like this. If you really want to see something that's effective, you have to basically take babies.
Yeah.
They all have to live in the same place. They have to eat exactly the same thing. They have to have everything thrown at them.
That's why it's fucking impossible to do these things.
Yeah, exactly. Completely equal. And then their kids, like how long does it take for, genes to get weeded out when it comes to IQ levels? Like, how do you even like factor that in?
This is going to be controversial what I'm about to say, but it's true. Hitler and people like Hitler, they were doing the right thing if they wanted that Aryan race.
Right.
Period. Because you kill enough people who have all the genes, quote unquote, that you don't want, eventually you're going to have the species that you want.
Right.
We do it all the time with dogs, with mice, with whatever. The only problem is...
Can't do that with humans.
Well, you can. It just takes too long.
Right.
A dog lives 10 years. You can weed them out and have many, many, many generations over one lifespan for a human. Yeah. You can only have one generation in one human lifespan,
Yeah.
So it's harder for you to continue to breed these things. That's what it comes down. That's why the extermination thing's important, quote unquote. It's you have to get rid of it fast and only use the traits that you want. So they were doing it right. And I don't care if I get... No, it's true, though. It's just the problem is it's the generational thing. It's the time thing. And obviously the morals and the ethics and all the other stuff.
Well, yeah, I think the ethics are a big part of...
100%.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that. But I would sit across from any biologist, any geneticist, any whatever, and I can almost guarantee you they would say, yeah, there's flaws in their technique or whatever, but from an evolutionary standpoint...
They're not be going about it in the best way.
Absolutely. But what's the difference between that and like the little genetic coding thing they're doing now where they can change, like, if you have Down syndrome or something, eventually you're going to be able to take that out, hopefully.
Yeah.
So you can be born, a baby who maybe was born with autism, maybe it could be corrected. And so when they're actually born, they don't have autism.
I mean, that comes down to like just defying the laws of nature, and that itself,
and that'll lead to other things,
and
too.
that could be seen as an ethical issue as well. But also when it comes to that, yeah, that's when you correct one thing, another problem comes up.
Because who knows, you might get super autism after that.
Right.
And I mean that sincerely, because you might cure autism, And then all of a sudden, whatever gene or whatever causes autism becomes immune to this change.
Well, they're just like viruses out there. Like everyone,
then you get super autistic people out there.
Yeah, like there's what's that one STD?
Gonorrhea.
There's a super gonorrhea strain going out because all the antibiotics.
I don't know why I guessed that one out of.
Well, you nailed it on the head, buddy. But
don't have it.
The super gonorrhea came because the antibiotics people were using to treat the original one, like the strain itself got stronger and evolved.
Even just colds, and flus. You know, people, because it circles back to what you were saying before about doctors kind of just putting Band-Aids on shit. Well, here, take some antibiotics. Here, do this. Our body's gonna build an immunity to it, and the viruses are gonna adapt because that's what they do.
Right.
That's their purpose of life, is to just be a virus and to kill shit.
Well, that's population control.
It is, man.
That's why the Earth is so overpopulated, because we've been able to figure out how to keep people.
And it makes you wonder.
Alive.
It makes you wonder, how much do like these little viruses and shit that you can't see actually control people? Like, and this is I'm gonna tie it back to Hitler one more time. But people like him, whether it's Hitler, Stalin, Mao, pick your poison. Are those just like manifestations of the virus? Like, are they infected somehow?
That's some crazy existential shit right there, bro.
Or it's just because Joe Rogan had this guy on once, and he was like a brain scientist guy, and he was saying that I forget what it was, and it's probably gonna make more sense if I were able to look it up and pinpoint it. But it's like some virus or something that like a rat will get, and the rat becomes attracted to cat piss, and so the rat will put itself in harm's way of a cat.
Yeah.
Cat will kill it, eat the rat, and then get infected with this virus. And that's the whole purpose. I forget what happens as a result of like the cat being infected, but this whole thing does this on purpose just to infect a cat. Like, its purpose is to get to a cat, but it does it by going to rats. So I just think, like, you know, was there something genetically wrong with Hitler or people like him, not just him, you know, Genghis Khan, whoever you want to choose, you know?
Like on a cellular level.
That forced them to say, you know what, like, I'm enacting what viruses do by killing people because of population control or whatever. It's an existential thing for sure. It's a stretch. It's not going to be proven ever. But you got to wonder, man. It's like maybe because in their mind, they're obviously doing the right thing. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Ethically, that's off the table. And even if they have reservations, they feel like for the greater good is probably the best
That's
thing
the only way you can succeed with shit like that, is if you actually believe it yourself.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah. And even if you don't, you convince enough people to do it for you. You don't have to do anything. You know, it's like Charles Manson, who just died. He didn't kill anybody. People call him a murderer. He wasn't.
Yeah, he was a brainwasher.
And he instigated murders.
Yeah, he mentally manipulated people into doing these things for him.
Because he obviously believed in it. Yeah. You know, but he was also crazy. So that's the other thing too. But it's just weird, man. Humans are it's just fucking weird. I don't know. It's just an interesting thing to think about, because we do have too many people on this planet. But at the same time, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Is it bad that we have too many people on this planet? No. That just means we need to do more. You know, but that means we need to go to Mars or something.
How do you fix the homeless problem here in California?
Well,
that's the thing that
there's always going to be a
lot of
solution.
People out there that don't want to fucking bring up that you have to exterminate.
That's what I was going to say. There is always one solution for everything, and that's just to kill it.
Right.
That's obviously not the ethical one, though.
No.
But that is always the solution for anything. Oh, we got dinosaur problem. No problem. Asteroids coming in. You know, whatever it might be. It's just not the best thing, because you don't want to kill anybody. No. But I do feel like there's ways to handle homeless problems. I really do. Like, I just don't understand. Like, if I had to pay, and I mean this sincerely, $10 a month for 2 years straight or whatever, and I was forced by the state of California to pay $10, and I voted on it, and this $10 would go to like this huge mega structure in downtown LA that just housed the homeless, fed the homeless, whatever, and they can only be on this program for like a year or two or something. Like, they had to get a job or else they get kicked out or whatever.
If they don't get a job, they die.
Something. Whatever it might be. Not that.
I feel like the threat of death is always going to help you like succeed.
That means you'd have to kill a few homeless people to really show them that you're boss.
You got to let them know you're not fucking around.
But I'm just saying, this is totally going to get flagged for inappropriate content. But the thing is,
I just don't know who to believe when it comes to the homeless people problem, man. I really don't. Like, how much of it...
What do you mean by that?
Okay, so I just need to see a study. Like, there's people out there that say when Reagan shut down all the, like, public mental health facilities, that's when the homeless...
so what would you want? What should I Google?
Entered. No, I'm just saying the narrative that people are homeless because they're lazy. Or people that they just don't want a job. Like, they enjoy living in squalor or something like that.
I just Googled when did the homeless problem start in America. But so go ahead, keep talking. I'm just gonna look it up.
So there's that. Like there's the Reagan shutting down all the public mental health facilities, which like just basically released a bunch of crazy people onto the street. Then there's
the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act.
Well, there you go.
Oh no, that was the. Sorry, no, go ahead. This was signed by Reagan actually. In 1987, this remains the only piece of federal legislation that allocates funding to the direct service of homeless people.
He got rid of a lot of stuff, though.
No, he definitely did. It even said here, but I'm just saying he signed that. Then about 1.56 million people, or about 0.5% of the U.S. population, use an emergency shelter or transportational housing during between October 2008 and September 2009. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Then there's, like I said, there's the people that believe that people just don't want to like work. They're just lazy and they don't mind living in squalor. Then there's the third party. This is the newest one that housing has become so expensive here in Los Angeles.
I don't believe that.
That people are living in tents on the street because they can't pay rent.
I don't believe
that either.
Not even the slightest inclination of that at all.
No.
Because if I had that serious of a situation, first of all, I'd be looking into moving. First of all,
right,
without a shadow of a doubt, because I know for a fact if I move to Texas or I move to one of these states that are lower income, I might not want to live there. I might hate the weather. I might do whatever. I know I can get a low income job and pay my rent, because rent's not going to be fucking $2,000 a month here.
Right.
You know, I might only be making $7, but it's enough to make do.
And on that, and with that idea, there's also living in a less desirable situation. Like maybe you had your own place, now you got to get a roommate.
Yeah, and people aren't willing to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, do I have to live in Hollywood? Well, no, you could also live an hour outside of Hollywood and pay half as much.
But would you rather live in a tent?
No, never.
Yeah.
Never. Ever.
Exactly. Like, I don't buy that.
I understand that some people might not have family. They might not have a lot of friends. They might be in a situation where they truly are on their own and they can't do anything about it.
Those are few and far between.
Absolutely. And that's, to be honest, that's kind of their fault for not having friends and shit. But that could be attributed to parents or whatever the situation. But I feel like something had to happen with them growing up that fucked them up. They would resort to that, or they got introduced to drugs or whatever. But
that's the other aspect, is a lot of these people, they're either crazy, addicted to drugs,
or both.
Alcohol. I mean, when I say drugs, I include alcohol in that. Some
sort of addiction. Something.
Yeah, but
that's why I'm saying you institute some, like, I mean, I'd pay $10 a month to, not forever, but like 2 years.
I was
or
told
something.
that Portland has some program where if you're homeless, they'll pay you $15 an hour.
Yeah, man. I think I told you that.
No, you didn't. It was someone in Uber.
Let's see.
Look up this program, because I find it ridiculous. Like, this is one where.
Well, yeah, because I'll just be homeless.
Exactly, for $15 an hour. Yeah, I could figure out how to make shit work without like having a physical address.
I'm reading about. Let's see what it is.
Like, I just don't believe that someone would pass this sort of legislation.
Well, this isn't what you're talking about, but Multnomah, which is actually a cool place in Oregon. So they're selling these homes. They're building these homes that look like teepees, and they're basically like one-room houses. They're like really small, but it's like wood and shit. And they're building them. That's kind of cool. Has nothing to do with what you're talking about. I'm looking for this thing. I don't really see it, but I've heard of that before. But see, I feel like as a citizen, like, the problem is people don't go down to Skid Row. Yeah, they don't see the problem that's out there, and it's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, I shouldn't have to give a fuck about who's homeless or not. It's not my problem. Yeah, but on the other hand, I'm also a human being, and I don't want everyone to live in shit situations, because not only does it make my city look like shit, it's also fucked up. Yeah. just on a human level.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a key aspect as well. Like when you drive through Skid Row, like if you live in the Arts District, you have to drive through Skid Row to get to the other side of downtown, and you see this. It's scary.
It is scary.
It's scary. It's like not just on a like for your safety, but like on a health level. If there's people shitting in the street, it's never good. Human waste is never like meant to be like out in the open for everyone to mess around with. Like that's something that needs to get.
That's how the fucking bubonic plague spread.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that in Oakland, there's like a big homeless problem now that people are shitting in the streets, and these warehouses that have been there for years that have never had a rat problem now have a huge rat problem in their warehouses, all because of being next to this like street, basically the Skid Row of Oakland.
It's fucked up because. And the other thing too, and this happens in San Pedro, people bus their homeless people to San Pedro because that's the end of the line.
Right.
They'll just throw, here's $100. We're gonna get on this bus, and there's people waiting for you, and it's illegal, of course, but they'll just bus hundreds of people, and then we'll bus other people to another city, and then it's just these people are just getting bussed around, and that's why I'm saying you propose some legislation where you build a hotel, you do something, and they have to get work. If they want to live here, they don't have to pay rent, they don't have to do shit. But they have to get a job. They have to do this. They have to take mental classes if they're fucked up. They have to go to rehab. That's all paid for in this program. Is it free? Like, and then maybe.
And what do you do if they don't want to do any of that?
Well, see, I don't know.
Then you kill them.
Well, because it's okay. Because then it's like, well, it's America. You can't force anyone to do anything.
Right.
That's what we're founded upon. And so it's like, well, I don't know what you do with those people.
Could you make it illegal?
To be homeless?
And arrest them.
No, because what if you want to be a wanderer? Like, what if that's your thing?
No, but that's different. That's different if you're a wanderer. I think if you're living in your car, you're probably not taking a shit in the street. You're, like, manipulating the system. Like, there's people out there I know. I have, like, a friend. I mean, this is always, anecdotal, but I have a friend who I was in a play with. I don't want to call him my friend. There's a guy I know. He lived out of his car for like a year and a half, and he talks about how like he has a different view of Skid Row because he was there and he got out of it. So he has like
it's a perspective.
Yeah,
thing.
He has empathy for them, but he was still like washing his clothes, taking showers, like figuring out a way to stay clean.
Planet Fitness, man, $10 a month, you can take a shower there.
People do that shit. Like I picked up a guy in Uber who he lived at the YMCA. I'm pretty sure. But whatever he's paying, he's probably paying $30 a month to sleep on a cot in the YMCA. He was still had money to buy pot, so he's doing something for money,
right? Or he could just be sucking dick.
Which is I'm not gonna shame.
It's a form of payment.
It is. I'm not gonna prostitute shame people. It
should be legal, man.
It's the world's oldest profession.
That might help with the homeless problem too.
Yeah.
If you can't buy a house, then
sell your ass.
You have to suck dick.
Yeah.
Boy or a girl.
Exactly. Suck dick, sell ass. One or the other. You do what you got to do to make it. Because what's 15 minutes of sucking cock for a nice warm place to sleep in at night?
I mean,
and a shower.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Might not be sucking cock either. Maybe you just watch. maybe the Harvey Weinsteins of the world.
Paying you just to watch them. Yeah, they're out there. They exist. But apparently that's a power play. Like if he was paying you to watch him and didn't do the same for him as him forcing you to watch him. But that's another discussion for another day. But no. I think there's people out there who live in their car because they can't afford it. But those same people, they're not shitting in the street. They're not fucking jumping into dumpsters.
My mom, I know, right? My mom wants to buy an RV type thing and just kind of travel around so I mean, that would be kind of like a wanderer type thing.
Right.
But she's gonna do it purposefully to like travel and not be linked to like a hotel and stuff.
No one's gonna tell your mom if she does that she's a vagabond.
Right.
It's a little different. Like Andrew actually, he talked about like buying an RV and parking it right behind LAX, right there on the beach at Dockweiler Beach.
Why not?
Just to not pay rent.
To have beachfront property.
Yeah.
Tsunami's coming. All right, time to go.
You got to figure out the timing. Like, when's a good time to take those showers on the beach, though? Like, are you like shorts on or shorts off?
Right, that's true.
Are you getting there early enough where there's light so you can wash your ass? And
well, I mean, I can wash my ass at night. I don't know what that means.
Well, if you're on the beach showering, are you washing your ass with your shorts on? Like, are you like opening the short? Like, what?
See, well, you gotta. I think in my opinion, you just got to go with it, man. If someone's going to say something, well, fuck them. I'm the one washing my ass right now.
I'm the one washing my ass in public.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. All right, I'm doing what I have to do. Because you're going to bitch if I fucking smell bad.
You want to wash it for me?
Yeah.
Like, I'll wash it in your house if you want to invite me in.
Yeah, gym memberships are cheap, though, so that's the other thing. Like,
they are cheap. So, maybe he buys a gym membership.
Yeah.
And that's his monthly.
We should do a whole podcast on how to live like a homeless person, but, like, still be clean and accepted by society.
I think it happens, but I think that the reality of the situation is it must suck.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, regardless of whatever might be done, what might not be done.
Nobody wants to live like that.
No one.
Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't say it's our obligation to help out, but I definitely think turning a blind eye isn't beneficial for your society. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I think a lot of people don't see that. Like, if we can help homeless people and genuinely help them, not just like fucking put Band-Aids on it and kind of like, oh, let's give them a shelter. No, actually trying to institute change and actually bringing your people up. I don't see how it wouldn't do good for the overall society.
Well, people are too worried about their tax money and what they spend it on.
Well, that's the thing though, man. Yeah. It's just like
it's always people clutching onto their pennies. That's really what it is.
People are complaining about we have this new gas tax in California that everyone either voted on or didn't vote on at all, because that's the other thing too. Oh, what's this huge gas tax increase? Well, bitch, you didn't vote. I mean, it was on the ballot.
Yeah.
I didn't vote for it because I didn't vote.
Yeah.
Well, I can't complain about it. Well,
right.
I think that tax should exist, period, because I live next to 2 fucking refineries, and the fact that gas isn't $1 just pisses me off. Like, they're not taking the damn gas that far.
Yeah.
I mean, they could open a damn gas station at the refinery, and I'll go to the motherfucker.
They're selling that gas somewhere else.
I know. And
I don't understand how any of these things work when it comes to that too. Like, why are we still buying gas from Saudi Arabia, oil from Saudi Arabia, when we have refineries here? We're sure there's plenty of barrels in Texas.
Because the Keystone Pipeline, man.
Yeah.
Because all the people won't let us drill. Which is stupid, too.
It's insane. There's already a spill. Wasn't there a big spill?
Like 200,000 gallons of fucking oil just spilled. It's not going to spill. It's not going to spill, guys.
It smells immediately. Right away.
It wasn't even open yet.
Hey, guys. Sorry. We haven't even started this officially, but yeah.
There was a little bit of spill.
There's a leak. No big deal. We'll take care of it.
The guy who told Trump was probably like looking down, like kicking his shoes, like, so, this pipeline thing, the one that you said we can do.
I don't know if it's good.
There's a little bit of a problem. Yeah. I don't want you to be mad. Like, don't be mad. It's not that big of a deal. We're already trying to clean it.
Don't be mad is the key.
Don't be mad, but we spilled 210,000 gallons. Yeah. How many? 210,000.
Anyways, I've got to wrap this up. So that's going to do it. You know the drill. If you're listening on iTunes and you haven't left a review, what are you waiting for? Leave a review.
I think we have 19 now.
We're on Stitcher.
We're almost at 20.
We're on Stitcher, Overcast, SoundCloud. SoundCloud's a big one. If you want to interact on SoundCloud, that's always fun. Prodigy from Beat and BTI. Lately he finally commented on our was it the Thor review? No, on the Justice League review. He's been MIA. He's got a new job. I found out that's why he's got a new job. So he can't spend time on SoundCloud all day at work.
Like, can't meme hunt either.
Can't go meme hunting as much. They actually have him doing shit.
That's good. At least he's not homeless.
Yeah. Leave comments on SoundCloud. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash that like button, ring that bell. Leave us comments as well. Let us know what you think, and we will see you next time.